The Mercedes C200 might seem like the kind of C-Class you get when you can't afford the C300 or even the C43 AMG, especially when it's in coupe form. However, much to my surprise, this C200 was a bit more exciting and made a lot more sense than I had initially anticipated. Let's get into it. My name's Tom, and you're watching Paragon Cars. Let's go. Now, obviously, most of these reviews include cars that are actually for sale. So if you'd like to have a look at this Mercedes C200, click on the link in the description below, or if you'd like to have a look at another car, you can follow a link to our website down there too. Okay then, the C200. This one was released just before the facelifted car, meaning it has the 2-litre instead of the EQ Boost 1.5-litre engine. And for me personally, yeah, I'm going with the 2-litre. Ain't no replacement for displacement and all that. Anyway, it puts out 184 horsepower and 300 Nm of torque from just 1200 RPM. Yeah, small turbos do have some advantages at least. 0 to 60 is over and done with in about 7 seconds, and it'll top out at 146 miles an hour. Pretty good numbers considering the power, I'd say. What does the 30 to 70 Sprint have to say about that though? Let's do it now and find out. Okay, firstly, we always do these runs on the same dead flat bit of road. However, sometimes Draggy decides that we're climbing a mountain. So please ignore the supposed 1.7% gradient. Anyway, the time, it did 7.67 seconds, which whilst not fast, is still plenty quick enough for a daily driver. Now then, if you want to see a full interior tour of the C-Class Coupe, please follow the link up in the top right hand corner. As for now though, we're going to get driving. Okay then, the Mercedes C200, this time with the 2-litre engine. I have actually reviewed one of these before, but that had the 1.5-litre engine with EQ Boost. So it's going to be interesting to see if this slightly simpler, more original setup is actually nicer to drive. By the way, if you want to go and see that review, I'll put a link up in the top right hand corner for you. It is quite an old review though, so the format and the actual quality isn't as good as it is now, but it's there if you want to watch it. Anyway, what's this one like? Well, going over bumps, it's an AMG line car, so very comfortable, not super sporty. You know, Audi S-Line and BMW M Sport, they do tend to be a tad stiffer than the Mercedes AMG line cars, but Mercedes really is all about comfort unless you're going for a proper AMG. You know, this is designed to just be a nice, comfy cruising barge, and that it is. It's nice and quiet, suspension soft, compliant, but not too soft. Be interesting to see what it's like on a B road later, as that's where Mercedes coupes, especially the non-AMG ones, tend to fall apart a little bit. But yeah, this is very nice. Seating position, absolutely fantastic in the C-Class. I can get really low, elbows can touch the armrests nicely. You can adjust the pitch of the base, and you can adjust your little thigh extender as well, which is actually really nice because you can do it electronically, so there's no manual stuff to do with the seat. It's definitely worth going with the premium trim because then you get that as standard. Also heated seats, which is nice. The only thing I don't really like is that sat-nav. I'd go for the upgraded one, as if you don't have the 360 camera, if you just get the regular reverse camera and you have this screen, the refresh rate is really slow, so you end up getting a bit too close to objects sometimes. You're sort of a bit closer than you think you are. Thankfully this car does have a 360 camera, so we don't have that problem. But yeah, wafting around town is fantastic in this thing. Gearbox just shuffles through gears nicely. It's just nothing to complain about really. Power delivery is nice, it's low down. It's a very good car to cruise around in. Anyway, in terms of parking, We got a 360 camera. Not really needed. The one thing I would say is do get the reverse camera with an upgraded screen. But this is very nice. It's a welcome addition, I suppose. And yeah, the view at the rear window is pretty pants in these, which does mean you do need to look at the camera quite a bit. Parking sensors I love because they're actually mounted on the ceiling of the car, so when you're looking in your rear view mirror you can still see how close you are to stuff, which is pretty cool. Anyway, once you're in a space, being a coupe, you do have slightly longer doors, so sometimes you do have to be careful, but most of the time you can get to the first notch in the door, so getting out is fairly easy. It's only the Mercedes E-Class where you start to struggle a bit with size. The C-Class really is fine. Oh, this is lovely. Anyway, what's coming out of a junction like? Let's see if start-stop will kick in. No. Mercedes has start-stop. I don't think I've ever actually seen it turn on. It's a very rare occurrence, even in eco mode. Anyway, let's give it half throttle. And, okay, slightly lazy throttle response for half throttle, but it does get up and go fairly quickly. Gearbox responds nicely. I just wish it was a little bit quicker to get going. Oh, there we go. Okay, interesting. Maybe start-stop had decided to turn the car off just as I was about to go. That's why most of the time you have it off, really, innit? Anyway, let's reset our trip computer, see what MPG we can get on the motorway. Mercedes say this thing will do 53 miles per gallon, which is pretty nuts. I don't think it's going to do that. My car wizard brain tells me that it's going to do probably around 40. Yeah, for some reason these 2-litre coupes from Mercedes and BMW never seem to quite get the figures that they claim they can. Their diesels are the cars that are very good on the motorway, but let's let this guy sort himself out. Come on, mate. But yeah, it's the same with BMW as well. Audi, their petrol cars tend to do quite well in terms of economy figures. That's the EA888 2-litre motor. That's the one that always does well. But the 2-litre engines from BMW and Mercedes, yeah, never seem to get their claimed figures. But I like to be proven wrong. Hopefully we can get 53 mpg out of this thing. But I won't get my hopes up. Anyway, before we get onto the motorway, let's take it to a roundabout and have a little taste of the handling. And I can show you the very laborious process of turning the traction control off in this thing. Okay, so how do you turn the traction off? Well, first we need to go into Sports Plus. You don't have to, but then you got to click home, so get that off. No, oh god, this is such a faff. Mercedes, why can't you just have a button? Then you got to scroll all the way to the bottom and go to settings, then assistance, then ESP, and then off. Fantastic. Okay, let's go for a manual gearbox and see what happens. Why can't you just have a button, Mercedes? I know it's not an AMG, but come on. Then give it a little lick. And yes, it will go sideways. Oh my goodness. For some reason, a C200 seems to like going sideways more than some much more powerful Mercedes. Couldn't even give it full throttle then. Its ESP system is... I don't know if it actually turns it all the way off when I do that. It doesn't seem to interfere much. I'll give it that. Anyway, before I do get carried away, let's switch that back on for the motorway. Get ourselves into Eco. And then, okay, let's then go back into our menus, back into Trip, and we can see what kind of MPG we can get. But seriously, Mercedes, big no-no. Just have a button. I mean, look, I know it's missing a couple of options of this car, but you could just have the button down here or somewhere up here. It would be way better. Anyway, let's get on the motorway. Okay then, coming onto the motorway in Eco, let's just give it like quarter, half throttle. Yeah, seems to pick up nicely. The way Mercedes has calibrated economy mode is actually quite nice. It doesn't just completely kill the power like it does in an Audi. So like half throttle, downshifts, still gives you the turbo, which is nice, straight up to 70, and let's whack the cruise control on. Bob's your uncle. Done. Super easy. Okay, once you're on the motorway, wind noise, road noise very low. However, compared to an Audi A5 Coupe, I am noticing it is just a smidge noisier, or at least the pitch of the noise is slightly different. Obviously we're riding on pretty large wheels, so you do hear a little bit of road noise, and then wind noise, you kind of just get it from back here a bit, just where the window connects to the B pillar. But I'm splitting hairs. It's still very comfortable, still very quiet, and of course you've got that 9-speed gearbox, so once you are at 70 miles an hour, you're just sitting at like 1500 revs, chilling out. You can still do a 12-hour journey in this thing absolutely fine. Anyway, let's now get onto the slightly longer stretch of the motorway and see if this thing will do its claimed 53 miles per gallon. I think not, Mercedes. Okay then, coming off the motorway, and my prediction was correct. I'm getting pretty good at this now, aren't I? Yeah, so there was a bit of traffic, but we were actually sitting at around 50 miles an hour for a lot of it, which is more efficient than sitting at 70, and we still only got 40 mpg out of this thing. I reckon on a long journey you might be able to get 48 if you're like really driving it carefully, but I struggle to believe you're going to get over 50 miles per gallon in this thing. It's going to have to be like super duper perfect conditions. Anyway, let's get on a B road now and have some fun. Okay then, Sports Plus, traction off, manual gearbox. Gearbox is okay. Shifts aren't super duper snappy, but they're not bad. Let's see what this thing's like. Ooh, nice. Quite a lot of grip from the front end. Nice positive turning. Okay, it'll let you get very sideways. Crikey. And yeah, it's not super slow, not super fast either. Also, quite a lot of fake noise when you're in Sports Plus in this thing. But yeah, steering's nice, predictable, thankfully. Brakes, always very good on Mercs. They just feel lovely. Lovely bite to them. Right, do a little sound check, see what it sounds like. Here's AMG line, I suppose. Do you know what? That's not bad for what's not an AMG, is it? Loads of grip from the front as well, which is very nice. This corner. Nice. Aggressive gear changes in Sports Plus. Gives you a little kick in the back. Fake sound. I think for most people they'll probably like it. For me, it's not quite the right kind of sound. It sounds like kind of a Gran Turismo 2-litre engine. But yeah, suspension is fine on faster stuff. Really nice chassis balance. I do love this generation of C-Class. It does have a nice balance to it. And yeah, it just kind of doesn't goad you on too much, but also very predictable. Nice mid-range punch. Yeah, there's very little to complain about. It's just, obviously, if you are sliding it about, you do have to be a bit careful, as the suspension does kind of jiggle around a bit, but you know, most people are never going to do that. I want to do the sound check again, actually. Let's just do it from a slightly lower speed. Let's go from first gear as well. No one's behind us, so we can go slowly. Did you hear that? There was a bit of a dual clutch fart going on there. Yeah, you get a nice push from the rear as well. It's a nice handling car, actually. Very nice handling. Very easy to feel when the limit of grip is going to be exceeded. And the gearbox, it's very quick to go back into an automatic mode. Yeah, there's probably a way to get it into manual, I'm guessing in the individual setting. But it would be nice that, you know, it just allows me to go into manual just by clicking on the paddle and staying in manual, more importantly. Lovely. Yeah, very balanced chassis, very nice. What happens though when you take it to a smaller B road? Does it all fall apart? It is quite softly sprung after all. So those quick steering changes might be hampered by that soft suspension. Let's go and find out, I suppose. Okay then, down our favourite little B road. Let's give it a wee bit of wheel slip. Ooh, nice DSG fart from the gearbox there. Or multi-clutch gearbox, should I call it? And yeah, down a little road like this, engine's got plenty of punch really. Take it slowly past this workman. Suspension is just about good enough, I'll say. Just. It's not quite as good as BMW M Sport cars. But the engine, though, is very nice. Okay, can we hit 60 before the corner? Let's go. Not too much drama. Oh, no, I'm calling it there. Not quite. And yeah, engine is very nice. It's that typical 2-litre engine though. It kind of dies at the top end, but it does have a very nice mid-range. Playing like Dodge the Puddle today. Steering's very nice though. I can place the car where I want it. And yeah, no understeer, but I can drive it on the throttle as well. It's got a nice balance. Okay, one last time then. Let's go. Okay. Obviously very damp, so that helps the car brake traction a bit. Most of the time it's not going to be like that. Ooh. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean the suspension's good enough. It's soft, but not too soft. And I don't think it needs to be stiffer. You know, most of the time you're going to be driving in comfort in this thing. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, in wet conditions you can get this car very sideways. That's not really what it's about though, is it? It's about the comfort of driving, and for that it is sublime. But obviously the shortcomings is the worst in the back for a coupe. And yeah, it's just not going to get 53 miles per gallon. I'll be very surprised if anyone's ever gotten that. You'll have to sit at exactly 56 miles an hour for 3 hours on a perfectly flat bit of road to do that. But yeah, I mean, compared to the C220D, you've got a bit of a nicer noise coming out the exhaust, less rattly engine, obviously, and it's economical enough that it's not going to absolutely destroy your wallet. So yeah, would I get this over the diesel? Or would I just go for a C300? I think personally, I would just stay with this. In my mind, before I had driven this, I was thinking, C300 any day over a C200. But yeah, I quite like this. And compared to the 1.5 litre engine, I hate to say it, Mercedes, I prefer this. I prefer the 2 litre engine. It just has a bit of a nicer power delivery than the 1.5 litre does, because obviously that's an EQ boost system, so it's a bit more complex than this. This just feels a bit simpler from behind the wheel, and the power delivery just feels really nice, really smooth, especially for daily driving. You're not going to rev the car out too much, so just giving it half throttle, it revs up to like 4,000 revs, and you get plenty of torque. Just very nice. Very little to complain about. So yes, I would take this over the 1.5 litre engine, and would actually just go with this instead of the C300. I think it's got just enough performance to keep you happy. Anyway, as always, if you enjoy this content, give us a like, and why not subscribe, as not only can you see more content like this, you can see everything we have for sale, which includes this rather nice Mercedes C200. It's got the premium pack, it's got the pan roof, which means, premium pack means you've got heated electric seats, which is a must, and of course you've got the 360 camera. Not super needed, but it is a welcome addition and makes the car more valuable when you come to sell it. Anyway, my name's Tom, and you've been watching Paragon Cars. I'll see you on the next one, and bye bye.